we've seen that Marjorie Taylor Greene she hasn't made like a switch or anything. It's not like she's moving over to the Democratic Party at all. That's not happening. But I will say, seeing her fight so hard for the Epstein list alongside Thomas Massey and Rokana, it's making me pay attention more to her. If you became introduced to her when I did, it was when she was going back and forth last year with Jasmine Crockett. She said that Jasmine Crockett was ghetto. Jasmine Crockett came back and said she's a beach blonde, bad built butch body. And, it obviously was a very contentious statement from both women. So it went viral on the internet. That's when I got introduced to Marjorie Taylor Greene. I was like, oh, this lady's a fucking racist. She may be. I don't know that she is or is not indefinitely. Definitively. That's the word I was looking for. Definitively. But I will say that the way that she's sticking up for the victims of the Epstein list and the way that she's sticking up for the public and her constituents and the American people and trying to get the evidence published, it is making me a fan of her. And also I've seen her on the Young Turks talking about how she doesn't believe that we should be sending money over to any foreign countries. We have so many problems here. We shouldn't be sending money to any foreign countries. And I got to say, it's making me a fan. This is not about being on the right. This is not being on the left. This is about standing up for what's right. Because at the end of the day, you can't have a system where people are being brutalized and we're hiding who those people are because we want to protect the quote unquote elite of society. And we can't have a situation where we've got people homeless and starving and kids that can't afford to eat at night and people that may need a little bit of assistance here in the US, and we're sending a lot of money to other countries, right? I know that some people have the ideology that, oh, we should help foreign countries and all. Listen, if your house is burning, you have to put your own fire out before you go help somebody else with their burning house. I know that foreign relations is more complicated than the simple black and white of the statement I just made. But nonetheless, I like Marjorie Taylor Greene. Let's go over to this tweet that she said in regards to the Epstein files. It says, to be clear, to set the record straight on my support for the Massey Epstein discharge petition. So Thomas Massey, he's a Republican. And it was also spearheaded by a guy on the Democratic side named Rokana. It says, I stand with the girls and women who were assaulted, abused, and raped, period. Every time, at all times. For me, it's not about a pissing contest between political parties or political enemies. The Epstein rape and pedophile network must be exposed. 100% agree with you. It's not a partisan issue. This is not, oh, the Democrats didn't care about it 4 years ago. It's not, oh, the Republicans are trying to do this, that, and the third to protect their person, Donald Trump, allegedly. It's about doing the right thing for the people that are victims of what has happened in relation to Epstein, and also doing right by the American public, because those people have to be arrested. They have to be held accountable, just like all the rest of us. No matter how much money they have, no matter the connections they have, people have to be accountable, especially when you do something like this. We talked about that ad nauseum on the channel, so you guys know how I feel. It says the women and their attorney have said over and over that Donald Trump did nothing wrong, and he was the only one that helped the women. That is factually true. So for her, I don't know why Trump is working so hard to keep the Epstein list from being published, but the Republican Party, for the most part, does what Trump wants. And it seems, to the majority of us that he's become a barrier in releasing the files instead of a help. But Marjorie Taylor Greene is saying that he's not in them. Apparently, the victims and their lawyers are also saying that he's not in the files in any egregious way. It says also the Democrats, who had power for the past 4 years, never did a single thing or showed they even cared about these women who were victims of Epstein. They could have exposed the entire thing while they had the power, but never lifted a finger to do so. If anyone is implicated, they have the right to clear their name, 100%, just as millions of Americans have had to do when falsely accused of a crime. That's right. In the public sentiment, it is like you're guilty until proven innocent, but it's supposed to be innocent until proven guilty. But if you are in the files and your name needs to be cleared, you will have your day in court to do that, right? Everybody will be brought to justice that needs to be brought to justice, and everybody that is cleared of wrongdoing will be cleared. But for the president to say, hey, we don't want to ruin anybody's lives over being in the Epstein files, it's the wrong approach. It's the covering for my friends approach, but it's the wrong approach. It says, I've had to do that many times and even had to defend myself against lies and pay massive attorney's bills to do it. For example, I was wrongly accused of insurrection and actually had to sit on a witness stand in a Georgia court of law and defend myself and clear my name. Release all the Epstein information by any means possible and return the focus to helping Americans. I hear daily about how Americans can't afford to pay their health insurance monthly premium, which, I'm going to get into that in a second. Can't afford rent, can't afford to buy a home, can't afford to pay for their aging parents, and can't afford life in general. That's 100% true. The cost of living is insane. It's insane. Like she said, whether it's houses, interest rates at one point, I think they came down, but they're still pretty up there for my generation. 6%. When I was buying my first place, I was looking at a 4.5, right? Refinanced during the pandemic, got an excellent rate. But people that are trying to get into the housing market now, like whether you're buying a second home or you're coming of age, getting married, trying to own property because that's what they tell you is going to build wealth, you just can't do it, right? It's too expensive. That's what it is. We're going to move on from that, but people's healthcare is going up. Their groceries are going up. They can't afford to buy a house because interest rates are going up or they're too high for people to afford them. It says the obsession over the Epstein files and fighting about it should not be happening. It needs to end. You would think that everybody would be on the side of releasing the Epstein files, but obviously that's not the case. For whatever reason, it's not the case.
How about we all come together and say, let's stop attacking pedophiles?
But that's where we are. And to the public, it looks like it's the elite, quote unquote, the people that are in Congress that are protecting people that are in the files. Whether it's people on the right, whether it's people on the left, it looks like a whole big collusion to protect whoever's in the files. But it's only an issue in the news because it has become a political fight and it should not be one. My name is staying on the discharge petition and I will dive into the Oversight Committee investigation just as I do with every investigation. And to be clear, once again, I stand with the women and the women who were raped at 14. Those were girls that were raped at 14. Just to give full context to what Marjorie Taylor Greene is saying, there were no women, absolutely no women, groomed and abused at 14. Those were children. And those people that participated in that, just as Marjorie Taylor Greene has said, just as Ro Khanna and Thomas Massie have wrote a petition for, those people have to be held accountable. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. We as the American public have said ad nauseum that we demand that. And the people that we put in place, we voted these people into place in order to enact the will of the people. Those people have decided that no ifs, ands, or buts about it. They're just not going to do what the hell we tell them to do. Because we hired you, we pay your paycheck through our taxes in order for you to be up there and advocate on our behalf. And if you can't do that, then you need to step down and get the fuck out the way. Shout out to the brave women that were in the Epstein files that went up on Capitol Hill and spoke, and even to the women that stayed in the rear because they have not found the voice in order to get up there and put on display what happened to them. Shout out to those women. They've been incredibly brave, and the people that victimized them and abused them and have been able to go on and live their life with no consequences, those people need to be exposed. They need to be jailed. And the people that have their name in those files, they can explain to the public and to a court of law why their name is in the file and in what context they were associated with Jeffrey Epstein.